Welcome back to the road to City Hall. Governor Patterson has his work cut out for him. What can Patterson and his team do to get back on track? Joining us tonight, Nassau County Executive Tom Suozzi.
You know, long before September 15th, when Lehman Brothers went bust and we saw the cascade of bad news come out about the economy, long before that September 15th, the governor was talking about the budget problems. He was one of the first people to be talking about the fiscal mess we were facing in New York State and sounding the bell even about the country as well. And he's got to get some points for that. He also brought the legislature back on 2 separate occasions to fix budget problems. Now, the most important thing in the whole world for everybody is the economy and the budget. If the governor can fix the budget, he will see a big rise in his popularity, I believe. He needs Shelley Silver and he needs Malcolm Smith, the leaders of the 2 houses, to work with him to craft a responsible budget. It can't be all full of gimmicks. You can't say just the stimulus money. It's got to be a responsible budget that brings down some spending in New York State, and it'll help him tremendously politically by doing good government. This is a time everybody's got to come together and look beyond the politics and think about how do we solve the problems related to the fiscal crisis.
Well, see, I like what the county executive said, and this is the most important. You got to look beyond the politics.
The people of New York are suffering. We have the property tax crisis that I've been touting for a long time for my residents out on Long Island. But we have other crises that are forcing people and businesses to flee New York State. It's related to some systemic problems. The governor's got to take this crisis, make it an opportunity to solve those problems.
So, Tom Suozzi, there has been lots of talk that should Governor Patterson run for re-election or election, whichever way you want to term this, that you might be the ideal running mate. How do you respond to that?
Well, I'm not running for anything right now. I got to deal with my own fiscal problems in Nassau County, but I do want to make it clear that I support the governor. I want him to succeed. I want him to do a great job for the people of New York State. He's already made it clear he's running for re-election, and I'll support him for re-election.
Who is the leader of the Republican Party? Isn't it rather convenient for the Democrats to make it Rush Limbaugh?
I think the Democrats, are happy to see Rush Limbaugh be the leader of the party because he's the poster child for extremism. There's another effort being made by some of my friends in the Democratic Party to point out that Newt Gingrich is the leader of the Republican Party. So it benefits us in the Democratic side when you hear people that are so extreme to one end, like Rush Limbaugh or even Newt Gingrich, being cast as the leaders of the party. Steele is trying to present himself a little bit more moderately than these guys are. It's to the benefit of the Democrats if you see Rush Limbaugh or Newt Gingrich be the leaders politically. As far as governmentally, I think the Republicans have got to stop just being the party of no. They've got to figure out how to work together with the administration to figure out how to solve the nation's problems.
Senator, the party with you. Welcome back to Inside City Hall. Our first guest tonight has been frequently mentioned as a candidate, a contender for Hillary Clinton's Senate seat, but as we all know, there is a lot of competition for the job. We welcome Nassau County Executive Tom Suozzi back to the program. It's so nice to see you tonight, Mr. Suozzi.
Dominic, thank you so much for having me on. Mr. Carter.
Well, thank you. You appeared you were big on this property tax, capping the property taxes around the state. You appeared last week with the governor. There you are at his side. And so the question I want to ask first, because your name has been mentioned for a number of jobs. Let's talk first about the U.S. Senate, as I just said. For the record, have you reached out to Governor Patterson about the Senate?
The governor and I have spoken about the topic, and, I think everybody in politics is talking about it. Everybody in the press is talking about it these days. But, yes, I have spoken to him about it.
So you are interested in the job?
Well, I'd be crazy not to be interested in the job, certainly. But this is the governor's decision, and he's got to do what he thinks is in the best interest of the state of New York and what he thinks is in the best interest for himself personally, quite frankly, because he's got to run for re-election in 2010.
I want you, we'll talk about Caroline Kennedy in just 1 second, but I want you to take a look at what ran in the New York Post December 2nd, written by our friend John Avlon, who appears on this program, and he said, "This is the Senate seat once held by Robert Kennedy and Daniel Patrick Moynihan, men of ideas and political principle, and the candidate who best represents the ideas that Patterson has tried to align himself with, accountable, honest, efficient government, is Nassau County Executive Tom Suozzi."
I've got to send that guy like a bouquet of flowers or something, or some candy or something. That's very, very kind of him, and I'm very grateful. As a matter of fact, I have not reached out to him to thank him, but that's very, very generous what he's done, and I will make a point of thanking you now that you reminded me.
What do you bring to the table for the U.S. Senate?
You know, I'm not campaigning for the seat, and, you know, I don't think that it's appropriate for me to try and sell myself on the job. And I think that any candidate that's out there trying to sell themselves right now is going to do themselves and the governor a disservice. People should really just, you know, we are who we are. This is not like a campaign where you go out and, you know, you do commercials and you do advertising and issue policy papers. I've got a record. I'm the county executive of Nassau County. I hope I've done a good job. I believe the voters of Nassau County think I've done a good job. I ran for governor of New York State against Eliot Spitzer. That did not turn out very well for me. Didn't turn out very well for...
But isn't life amazing? You've almost, if you will, gone to becoming the golden one in terms of, I'm sure you might disagree with that, but it seems like your career is definitely on the rise. Since you ran, some thought you committed career suicide taking on Spitzer.
I remember you saying that quite a few times.
And let's be honest, a couple of times off the air, I asked you, what were you doing?
Yeah,
Did you realize what you were doing?
Yeah, he said, something wrong with you? I think the reality is that I survived that race. You know, I realized after a couple of months out that I couldn't win the race, and my objective was to present good ideas as to what we needed to do in the state and to maintain my reputation. And I think the editorial boards were very generous in the comments they said about me. Many of the ideas that I posited were adopted by Governor Spitzer and later Governor Patterson, and you know, and I think that I've got some credibility as far as the policy wonk type people go. So, you know, I just want to try. I'm in public service. You know, I was thinking about getting out of public service after I had run for governor, and it turned out so badly, and I was offered all kinds of jobs. And I decided, you know, I really enjoy this, and I believe that this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. So I enjoy public service. I enjoy trying to solve problems, trying to use the power of government to try and make people's lives better. And, you know, I'm into it.
Your name has also been...